for anybody later who wants to know more about HPLs. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. My name is Cynthia Scott. I'm Vice President of Public Relations for Eagle Advanced Speakers, and I will be your moderator this evening for this panel discussion on everything you need to know about high-performance leadership projects. High-performance leadership projects, or HPL projects, are completed in Level 5 of Pathways Pass. HPLs give Toastmasters a chance to practice their leadership skills and to assess their leadership strengths and weaknesses. HPLs are mandatory for 3 paths: effective coaching, innovative planning, and persuasive influence. HPLs are optional for all other paths. Before panelist introductions tonight, I would like to introduce our Zoom administrator, Xander Tandon. Xander, if you can please introduce yourself.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and anybody else who happens to want to watch this. My name is Xander Townend, and I'm the Vice President of Education for Eagle Advanced Speakers. And it's my great pleasure and privilege to be a member of such an amazing club with so many really accomplished and competent speakers. We have DTMs and DTMs in the making, and lots of really wonderful people. And I just really think that our club is the best. So if you're interested, then come and check us out. We'd love to have you come and be a guest, and be persuaded to join our crew. Yeah.
Thank you, Xander. Xander, if you can put up the poll for everyone, for those people in the audience, we have a quick poll, just literally one sentence. If you can let us know your experience with HPLs. If you can fill that out, if everyone can fill that out and we can get an idea, then we can go on from there. Okay. I will end polling now. I think I've got everybody. So it looks like we've got one person, 2 or none, not needed for current path, or we've got 2 that have a lot. Oh, there we go. So most or lots have done previous HPLs in the legacy program. One has done in the HPL Pathways program, and then 2 have not done it yet. 1 is not needed for current path, and 1 needs it for a current path. So that is great. We've got a good diverse group of people, and that's wonderful. We're going to talk about it all for those that don't know too much about HPLs, and have your questions ready for the end. So now I would like to introduce our panelists for this evening, who will be providing us with a brief biography of themselves. If you can help me welcome Chris Nelson. Chris.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Chris Nelson, and I am one of your program quality directors here in District 60. I've been a Toastmaster for just over 6 years, and in that time, I've had the opportunity to complete 3 HPLs, 1 in the Legacy program, as well as 2 in Pathways. But one of the things that I've found most productive is the ability to work with a guidance committee and to learn from those people around me, to be able to gain from their knowledge, from their insight, and from their different opinions. One of the greatest compliments I've gotten is from a Toastmaster who was on one of my guidance committees, and he said, if Toastmasters is where leaders are made, then Chris is proof that Toastmasters works. I consider that a tremendous compliment, but I also consider it a great comment on the effectiveness that an HPL can give you and the learning that's available in that type of project.
Great, thank you very much, Chris. Now I would like to welcome my mentor, Marilyn Lashford. Marilyn.
Hello, everyone. I am the president of Eagles Advanced Speakers, and I hope that you have a chance to visit us to see how we fly in formation. I've been a Toastmaster since 2000, and I have benefited from both the communication and the leadership side. It is something that I think everybody needs. It's something that they can expand on, and I recommend it to everyone. I've been involved in HPLs primarily in the legacy program, and it really stretches you if you pick something that you are excited about doing and really are able to let everyone else around you be excited about the project. So I'm looking forward to our discussion today, and I hope that you will HPL with Eagles soon.
Thank you, Marilyn. And last but not least, I would like to introduce Alvin Brown. Hi, welcome, Alvin.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Alvin Brown, as you said earlier, and I've been in Toastmasters for about 10 years now, November 2010. We walked in the doors and I didn't know what to expect from Toastmasters. When you hear Toastmasters, you think primarily of speaking, but you soon realize that every role you play leads to a leadership journey. So Toastmasters has been great, and the culmination of the leadership journey is this HPL piece, where you lead a project and you have coaches and mentors. And that's the other big thing about Toastmasters is it's one of the most undervalued programs. I've always said this. And where else can you get mentorship? Where can you get the leadership? Where can you get 9 decades or more of growth and perfection of a program like you can at Toastmasters? Nowhere for the price that you get it at. It's undervalued. So I'm currently finishing up my HPL and presenting. I already presented it. And so I've learned quite a bit, and I want to share that today. I look forward to it. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I found that Toastmasters helped me in my business as well. So if you want to take it away from only Toastmasters to real life, it's completely helped me to turn my business around and be a better leader. So I look forward to sharing my info with that.
Thank you very much, Alvin. I'd now like to start the panel discussion. If everyone can keep their questions till the end, because there will be a Q&A at the end of the session. As a Toastmaster, you can do an HPL either internally through the club or district level in areas like organizing club officer training, as well as externally. My first question is for Chris. If you can give us some HPL project ideas that Toastmasters can use to create and execute their project through the district, and if you can detail what is the process for any Toastmasters who may want to lead a District 60 HPL project. Chris.
Thank you, Cynthia. There is an abundance of projects available at the district level for people looking to do an HPL. This is something Cynthia discovered firsthand earlier this year, and she did an amazing job organizing a club officer training series for us. One of the perks of doing an HPL at the district level is, first of all, you don't have to go hunting for a project. We have lots of them, trust me on this. But another perk is that it's a great window for people who haven't yet had an experience working at district level to get an idea for what's out there, what goes into the sessions that you attend, what happens behind the scenes. It's a little taste of what might be in your future if you choose to serve as a district leader or in one of the many, many support roles that we have. So Cynthia's already mentioned the example of club officer training, and certainly organizing that is an available option. We had someone who completed a project similar to an HPL recently on the November 14th TLI session, where we included both a panel as well as the club officer training sessions. You could look at organizing something like a division or area contest. Please note, this really doesn't include your own division or area contest if you're the area or division director. One thing that I struggle with personally is finding something like an HPL that is not already part of my job as program quality director. I think that's important because you're not growing beyond your existing role if you're only doing something that's already within your existing role. But again, organizing an area contest for the area director where your club belongs is a great way to have a taste of that district leadership, to complete something that has a very clear beginning and end. And for someone who's perhaps less comfortable with a new role, it's a great way to do something for which there is an existing pattern. So you've got a chance to develop your skills in a safer environment. There are a lot of subsidiary roles at district, including areas like club coach chair or youth leadership chair. Roles like that do not count for district leader credit, but they do count towards something like an HPL project where you're able to take your learning, create a plan and a vision, and work with a committee who can support you in doing that. Opportunities are largely endless, and finding them is really simple. Just ask. We'd love to talk to anybody about being able to do an HPL with us at district. I know that Anita and I as program quality directors have lots of opportunities. Wendy likely has some, and I feel confident that David and Suda, our club growth directors, also have opportunities. Please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you find a project that's perfect for your HPL.
Thank you so much, Chris, for the great answer. So many ideas that you've given us. Our next question is for Marilyn. Marilyn, as club president, if you can give us an idea of some of the HPL projects that Toastmasters can complete on the club level and let us know the process to find those opportunities.
Well, at the club level, you want to look for something that really stretches you. To do something that is easy is not going to really put you forward in your leadership. So you can look for things that really you think are out of your reach, but are actually in your reach. When I was going for my HPLs, I took our club to the Pickering Town Center and put on 2 full meetings. And that was to raise the awareness of Toastmasters in the community. Was it challenging? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Everybody in the club said it was the best experience that they had. Took a lot of preparation, but it was well worth it. Another opportunity is to have a special contest so that people are gathered to your club. I put on a Tall Tales contest last year, and that was to go beyond the boundaries of the club and into the other divisions, and we had a great time. Again, you have to practice, you have to do a project plan, you have to get everybody on board, but it's a worthwhile situation. There may be other things in your club where you need to gather people's attention, and you can do it as an HPL. And Chris has already mentioned you could do an area contest. But I would recommend that you go beyond what is easy to you, because all of the projects and all of the roles within Toastmasters is really meant for you to stretch and grow as a leader and understand who you are as a leader, which is invaluable.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Alvin, HPL projects can also be done externally through one's employer or another volunteer organization. If you can give us some tips that you feel are important for Toastmasters who want to find external opportunities.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. This is a great conversation to have, because many times some of the objections that some Toastmasters will have, like I had that before, is you're running as your entrepreneur and you're running your business, you are just too busy to take on a project, and so one beauty of the Toastmasters, the flexibility that it offers you to do practical, something you are already doing, and you can use that as your HPL. And that's what happened to me. I had a few projects going on, as I frequently do, and with the guidance council and mentorship, I was able to realize that I could apply the efforts I'm putting into my business, so it's a win-win, towards in my HPL from in the legacy program that I'm in now. So it was for anybody out there who's thinking, I just can't see myself choosing another task to put on my list. This is a great opportunity that Toastmasters take care of two things at once. And it was a great learning experience for me to do that, and to also lean on the council within Toastmasters, find out what are the right things I should do to prepare myself while I'm doing that project. So I think overall, it's a great opportunity. There really is, if you really want to get to that DTM and your final goal, there's a lot of opportunities to make that happen. So if you're stuck, if anyone out there is stuck thinking, I just can't see myself putting another task on my list, you have options.
Great. Thank you so much, Alvin. And thank you all for giving us great ideas for HPL projects. Now, after finding the project ideas for your HPL, you need to recruit a team of at least 3 other members. The next question is for all panelists, starting with Chris. What are some of the tips that you give to Toastmasters who are looking at selecting their team for their HPL project? Chris.
Thank you, Cynthia. I've done 3 HPLs, and one of the key things, well, 2 of the key things that I look for when I'm selecting my team are diversity and balance. Diversity, because I don't want only experienced Toastmasters. I learn a tremendous amount from the many Toastmasters who've mentored and guided me and continue to do so. But I like to balance that with a younger or newer Toastmaster, someone who perhaps isn't always doing something in the same way, someone who may have a fresh idea that could be a little different from things that we've done before. The other thing that I look at is people whose ideas, experience, and thoughts are different than my own. I find those are often the people who provide me with inspiration to do something in a way that challenges me or have a solution to a problem that I may not have thought of. And that's a great area for me to learn and grow.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. Marilyn, what tips would you have?
I would recommend very strongly that you tap into this wealth of skill sets and knowledge that your members have. There may be people who are sitting in the background thinking, oh, this is pretty lame, but until you get them to the forefront, all of a sudden they say, hey, maybe that's something that I would like to do. So I would tap into their expertise. I would tap into where they want to go. And a good way of inviting people into that is through your vision. If you're excited about your vision, it'll come out and excite other people to adopt what you want to do. And yes, we need a diverse group of people, and we need to get the younger newbies to actually get excited about what they can do, and they can use their expertise moving forward.
Great. Thank you, Marilyn. And Alvin, what are some of the tips you would give for those people looking to select their team?
The big one for me is being sure that the person you're leaning on has walked that path before and can provide a wide range of experience to go down the many different paths that you may go down as you're going through your HPL. So finding a key person who's walked the walk a few times. For instance, you got Chris, you have Marilyn here, who have walked many paths and continue to do it. So that's really key if you can find that person. But one thing I find with Toastmasters is there's so much help. There's so many people. It's unbelievable how many people are willing and able to jump in to help you out. So never feel alone that way, because I find the higher, now that I'm doing this area direct, will find your way. So I say find diverse, well, almost like a Sherpa, someone who's gone down that path and can guide you through the hills and valleys, and just hang on to them and stay in close contact.
Great, thank you so much, Alvin. Now, panelists, you've all had to complete at least one HPL, and some of you many more, and mentored others on their projects. If you can give the Toastmasters one piece of advice that would be beneficial if they run into issues with their teams, if we could, what would that be? We could start with Marilyn.
Yes, I think that if you establish the rules of engagement from very on and actually reveal what your values are that you would like to see in the project, I think that that would go a long way. Listening to people and their issues can be resolved very quickly if you get to them early enough. And if you are aware of what are the nonverbal clues, you can get to it and say, hey, what's going on?
Great, thank you, Marilyn. Alvin, what piece of advice would you give that would be beneficial with if they run into issues with their team?
It's making it a win-win. Everybody has a need that they want to have met. The reason why they are joining you. So I think the best thing is to sit down with your team and find out how you can make it a win-win. How can they be engaged with the project with you? So they're getting something from it too. And then there'll be more, because we're all tuned into that station, WIIFM, what's in it for me. So if you can just tune into that, what's good for them, and continue to make this a win-win, I think that's where you keep people engaged. And the one thing I heard is the mean of communication to response you get. So if you're not getting the response you want as Toastmasters, change your communication and learn to be a better communicator with your team. And I think you'll get there. So it's going to stretch you. If you're not a strong communicator, then tweak your communication and use that as a learning point to get better at a team, because you're going to need it in some way in your life.
Thank you so much, Alvin. And Chris, finally, Chris, what tips would you give?
Thank you. We've had some terrific points already covered by Marilyn and Alvin. Those that I would offer in addition are, first and foremost, look at why you chose these people for your committee. It's possible that you chose some of those people because they're individuals who have opinions that are different than your own. They're people who aren't afraid to confront you or disagree with you or say, I don't think that's a good idea. Listen to that and check within yourself. Is there dissent because you or someone else just doesn't like being told that something is different? Or is there a kernel in there, as Marilyn said, where you can find the issue itself and address that? The other thing that I like to keep in mind is that you are the person in charge of your high performance leadership project. Your guidance committee is there to guide you and support you. The person in charge is still you. And if there is dissent, it's your responsibility to deal with that in a way that's effective. It's also your responsibility to make the hard decision to move forward in a set direction, whatever that might be, and to then make sure that you create consensus with those who are involved.
Great, thank you very much, Chris. Great answers from everyone. Our next area is on recruiting members of your guidance committee. The members of this group will help evaluate your project's progress. They also give you advice and offer feedback based on their perceptions, and you'll need a minimum of 2 people in your guidance committee. The next question is for Marilyn. Marilyn, what qualities do you look for to ensure you have the right members of your guidance committee?
Well, For my guidance committee, I always look for creative people because I want to know what their ideas are and how it can be incorporated into where we're going. I also would like somebody who's been, as Albin said, been to the same place, is established in their expertise. And I would like somebody to challenge me, because sometimes you get a little apathetic and you need somebody to say, no, let's look at it this way. So it's somebody that I trust, somebody that I know well, and somebody that I would have a very good relationship with to move my project forward.
Great, thank you, Marilyn. Alvin, looking back at your HPL project, if you can detail 1 or 2 lessons learned about your guidance committee that you feel would benefit the other Toastmasters on the call.
Marilyn pretty much hit it when she said, like, I know for me, having, for instance, Marilyn on the helping me out when I needed it was great, guiding me the path. Even times when I didn't know some things were, I was unaware that these things were there. Having that person here to say, hey, did you know? And then leaning on Chris. And so, you know, I built, I was lucky enough, I guess, to have gotten 2 strong leadership to help me through and pointing me in directions and guiding me through. And so I would say one of the other things that I want to mention is be mindful of getting someone who is your complement. I remember in my own business, bringing in someone in my business to help me who I got along with. We clicked, we totally clicked. And I thought, for sure, this is a person that I want to work with. But I found out they want the same thing as me. They didn't complement my weaknesses. They were just like me. So you need someone who will, as a friend of mine said, tell you when your breath stinks. You need that person to tell you that, hey, you know, you're going the wrong way. And so don't always get everybody that you love, that you get along with so tightly, because they might be exactly like you. And sometimes you need that, you need to complement your weaknesses. So
true, Alvin. Thank you very much. The next question is for Chris. Chris, there's some confusion as to whether guidance committee members can also be HPL project team members. Can you please clarify this issue for us?
Absolutely, Cynthia. I had a quick review of the Pathways HPL project earlier today, just to be certain, and there is nothing that restricts a member of your guidance committee from being a part of your HPL team. The factors that I would suggest looking at here are, why do you want to duplicate that person? Sometimes there's value in duplicating that person. You've got someone who is working on your guidance team who is also a part of the project you're working on. I've had people in that situation, or who is an asset to have contributing to it. At other times, there are people who are skilled and have time to work with you to guide you. There are others who might be a better fit to work as part of your team, or with whom you can then share your own leadership skills to guide them and help them grow. So if you're looking to duplicate people between your guidance committee and your team, my question would simply be, is this the best choice for that person, for the matter at hand, and for you? Whether that answer is yes, no, or I'm not sure, is a choice each individual would need to make.
Thank you very much, Chris. Great insight on that issue. Now it's time to plan your HPL project and prepare your first HPL speech on introducing your project plan and vision. Marilyn, since you've just spoken about vision recently, what is some advice that you give to fellow Toastmasters who are looking at developing their vision statements for their HPL project?
Well, what I would recommend is don't put yourself in a little box as far as your project is concerned. Consider that anything goes when you first are developing your vision. What is it going to look like? What is it going to sound like? What is it going to feel like? Because you really want to know what is it that you're heading towards. I would recommend that you put out your vision right away so that people can get excited about your project and get on the bandwagon with you. A lot of times people don't do their first speech until after the project's already over, and then that doesn't give you an opportunity to recruit other people that would make it even better. So I would recommend that you just pour out your vision so that you know what are you looking at, and then you can take that vision and afterwards see if it has come to fruition.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Great ideas about vision. Alvin, what are some tips that you would give to Toastmasters to create their project plan?
To create it, since Chris said earlier, there's a plethora, here's your word of the day, a plethora of projects to choose from. Why not choose something, one, that you're passionate about, and two, that'll make you grow? If you are going to do something, why not do something that will grow from it? And because we can't be in isolation here and thinking this is only a Toastmasters project, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And you never leave an opportunity without stretching and growing. Even errors, you fail forward, you always grow from something. So the more you challenge yourself, you never really grow from being in the comfort zone. So I would say the best thing to do is, since there's many to pick from, choose something that's worth your time, your effort, and that'll make you grow. And so lock in growth with passion, and it's unstoppable. And it also infects the people that are with you on that ride.
Great, thank you so much, Alvin. Great words, definitely things for people to think about. Chris, the first HPL speech is often hard for people to compose. What are some ideas that you would give to fellow Toastmasters who are looking at trying to create an interesting first HPL speech?
Thank you, Cynthia. I think Marilyn and Alvin have done a great job of capturing what's really the key to that first speech. It's passion. It's choosing a project you're passionate about. It's choosing a project that fires you up, because your job in that first speech is really a salesman. You are looking to sell that audience on your vision. An ideal situation after a first speech is that 3 people in that audience come up and go, I'd really like to work with you on this project. Wouldn't that be a terrific result? And wouldn't that be a great example of how you shared your passion, your excitement, and your vision effectively with the audience? That first speech is meant to be full of the intangibles. This is my goal. I have a dream. These are the things that I want to do and to achieve. Be excited about it. Let that excitement show. In my most recent HPL, one of the things that I wanted to do was create workshops, information, and a survey to increase our Pathways new member adoption rate. And I was excited about doing that because the fact that it was so low was a little on the frightening side. The speech I gave to my club reflected my enthusiasm and my passion for making a difference in that new member adoption rate.
Great, thank you so much, Chris. That was a great section. I think everybody got some great information on that. Now, part of planning your HPL project is to design your plan. Marilyn, one item that can be used for designing a plan is the Project Plan Overview resource. If you can give us some tips for Toastmasters and how to maximize the use of this template.
Mm-hmm. Well, the project plan overview is something different for Pathways. in the legacy program, they gave you parameters, but it was up to you to really get in and go deep into the project so that you could capture everything, capture the resources, capture the timelines, the obstacles that may pop up. So it's all right to have an overview, but I would encourage everyone to really go deep and figure out what is it that you really need. What I did for when we took the club to the Pickering Town Center, I actually took my guidance committee to the Pickering Town Center, and we sat down and looked at the space and looked at all of what is it that, how are we going to set up the tables and the chairs so that one, it really is comfortable for our members, but also is it ideal for the people who are just there on a Saturday afternoon to shop. So it was going deeper and figuring out, oh, we need a backdrop so that it identifies the space. We had to have fire retardant table cloths. Who knew that you needed to do that? So it's going deeper and really narrowing it down to what are the basics, and then you could refer back to your plan as you go along to see if you're on track or not.
Thank you very much, Marilyn. Another part of the process is delegating tasks and establishing milestones. Alvin, if you can give us some tips on how best to communicate tasks and milestones to your team members to ensure that they are completed on time.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So the biggest thing with tasks is many people watching this who's ever led a team or anything else is making sure that the tasks are clear and are broken into easy chunks, small chunks. You want to make sure that it's attainable and they're able to they have the resources they need to actually execute on that. I remember a book by John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and he talks about the law of the lid. And putting the wrong person on that seat on the bus, if they're not capable of doing that task, you're setting them up for failure, you're setting up your project for failure. So finding out what they're strong at and giving them the resources and the timing and clarity to get that done, and checking in with them and supporting them through it will enable anybody to achieve the task that you want them to. So I think setting clear benchmarks, making sure your team member is capable of getting it done, they have the resources, they have the support, and I think anything is possible.
Thank you so much, Alvin. Definitely some great tips on leadership, not only delegating and establishing milestones. Two of the most important things are, as you said, to lead your team and to establish your plan. Chris, if you can give us some advice on how Toastmasters who aren't comfortable with leading can take initial steps to get more comfortable leading a team.
Thank you, Cynthia. One thing I think it's important that we always remember is that we all come to Toastmasters from a different perspective. There are people who come in who are already well up the ladder in skills, whether it be communication, leadership, or both. There are others who are at a very entry level. And when we approach something like a high performance leadership project, as Marilyn's mentioned already, it's important to look at a project that makes you grow. The catch is that what makes you grow is different for everyone. What makes one person grow might be exceedingly simple to another. And trying to take something on that's overwhelming is almost an exercise in futility. I like to apply a principle that's similar to what we do when we give new members evaluation and give them growth points. We don't bury them in a dozen growth points because nobody can walk away from a speech and apply 12 growth points, meritorious as they might be. We give them the top one or two. that are most readily applied. And I would suggest we apply that same principle to choosing a high performance leadership project. Choose a project that will stretch you, but don't bury yourself in everything. If leadership is something that is very intimidating to a member, perhaps choose a project where they'll build on existing skills, develop more organizational skills, develop the ability to work with a team, have some guidance committee members who will support them as a leader and let them lead and push them gently to do so. But don't choose a project that's already overwhelming if the leadership aspect of it is going to be overwhelming. Look at that balance. If the leadership aspect is less overwhelming, that's a great time to choose a project that will stretch you in and of itself.
Such important words, Chris. Thank you so much. Marilyn, many people are unsure about taking on an HPL project because they feel that they do not know if they have the time or the resources to successfully plan an HPL. What would you say to them?
I would say you do have time because you're not going to be doing this project by yourself. A lot of the tasks are going to be done by whoever is on your team. And you have to look at it that this is all part of self-development. Why not take on something new that will challenge you so that you can go out and be a star on the outside, in the outside world. It is, yes, it can be time consuming, but if you have done your homework and have done your project plan and you've selected a really incredible team, it's not going to take an awful lot of time. It's not going to take a lot of effort because it's all going to be done for you.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. So Alvin, how can Toastmasters effectively use their guidance committee when they are facing challenges with their project?
This is I tell you, this is a great question because one of the things that I notice in not only in Toastmasters, but in people is learning how to ask for help. It happens to some of the best of us where we are stuck and we don't know how to effectively. Being a mentee is also a skill, just as much as being a mentor, because I've been a mentor to a few Toastmasters, and as they would say today, they go ghost on you. You don't see anyone. They never need help on their projects. However, they're not hitting the benchmarks of those projects. And so learning to use your team and lean on your committee, that's what they're there for. They signed up with all the passion to help you and with all the readiness to help you, but we never seem to effectively use our coaches. I don't know if there's not enough leverage because it comes for free and it becomes abundant, so you don't use it effectively. So I say the answer to that is really asking for help when you can't find the way, and asking early enough and effectively being clear about what you're asking and going to that coach and letting them know with some clarity and some conversation. I think you can really get through. It's just about knowing how to ask and being okay with that. Asking is not weakness, it's actually a strength, knowing how to do it.
So true, Alvin. I asked, as Chris and Marilyn both know, I asked lots of questions during my HPL project. Next, this one's for all the panelists. There's always problems and challenges that happen, even with the most organized and smoothly run plan. If you can tell us one problem or challenge that you had with one of your HPLs and how you overcame it. Chris, can you start?
Thank you, Cynthia. I've been fortunate. I haven't had too many overwhelming problems with my HPLs. There have been a variety of little glitches though, and the one that most comes to mind is with my second HPL. We had planned a workshop and we're looking to tie it in with a local event series. It was a good fit educationally, And it was an opportunity that had come to me quite by accident when I approached someone I respected with an offer to assist with something else. Unfortunately, as we got to the point of organizing the workshop and firming up a date, the calendar for the events that we were hoping to tie in with had just closed the day before, which was really going to limit our ability to promote the event. We had a choice of trying to find an alternate date, or trying to look at promoting the event separately, or looking at canceling the event entirely. We decided as a team to discuss the matter. We looked at a variety of pros and cons and decided to go ahead and simply had a smaller number there. It wasn't a terrible situation because it was a pilot workshop for something new that we were trying. And we had enough people to give us the feedback that we needed without having so many that trying to do a pilot brand new workshop might have been overwhelming. So in hindsight, that problem worked to our benefit, although it would have been nice to have had the promotional opportunities that we desired. The greatest lesson I learned from that is not to assume. Check the dates. Had I done so, we could have firmed up those decisions a day earlier and been on that calendar.
Thank you so much, Chris. That's definitely one everyone has to be aware of. And Marilyn, if you can tell us the one that happened to you, a problem or challenge that you had to overcome.
Well, the biggest challenge that I came across with going to the Pickering Town Center was the fact that the Pickering Town Center was all Wi-Fi. So our audio equipment that was Wi-Fi didn't work. The people that were hired had said that they would do the work for a certain amount of money, but because they had to bring in corded microphones to offset all of the different noise in the Pickering Town Center, it cost a lot more money. We had a fantastic event. Everybody was challenged. Everybody thought this is great because they all learned to literally speak in public. The situation was that I had to go back to my treasurer and say, sorry, it didn't cost $400, it cost $700. So I had to eat crow for about a month and a half about how I overspent my budget, but I was able to counter by saying this was one of the best things we've ever done, because we went out and everybody in the club came out to the event. Everyone in the club went to a rehearsal of what they would expect. So I had to eat crow, but I thought that that was worth it because we had a spectacular event. And Alvin was one of the participants that added to this event. So yes, there's sometimes you just can't predict situations.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. That's a great one. You know, we need to, you know, be prepared that things might come up when you're doing an HPL, and those have been great too. And now another great one, Alvin, if you can give us your problem or challenge that you had that you overcame.
Well, Madam Moderator, at the time of this recording, we are going through the pandemic. So my project started in 2019 and it extended into the next date was April 2020. So everything was going great. 2019 was amazing. We had bricks and mortar. We had the place picked. We already had one. I think we had two already. We gathered. Our goal was to do small satellite events and have a big event with these small satellite events. Final one in June. Well, we had our third one planned. And we all know, if you're just watching this years later, March 2020, everything got shut down. So we had to scramble and learn to go online, learn what Zoom meetings are, Zoom webinars, And webinars and meetings are two different things. One communication is two-way like we are now. The other one is a one-way communication. And we had to learn that. We had to learn backdrops. We had to learn to invite people on and how it would work. We had a rehearsal and how panelists could answer, moderator could answer the questions from panelists coming in, and it was unbelievable how we had to switch gears basically from a live event to now online. But they say, you know, when in times of great winds, you can do two things. You can bunker up, or you can build windmills and take advantage of it. So we built windmills, and we started to learn how to go online. Because right now, as I look forward and I look back at it, it was a blessing. For every setback, there's a setup. And because I don't think we're going forward anymore into all live events as we go forward in the near future. I believe I see Tony Robbins, I see Eric Worre, a couple of big presenters now are building platforms where it's all going to be virtual. So what looked like a setback in March 2020 left us scrambling was really a setup, because now I'm embracing technology and I'm going with it. So at Toastmasters, what do we learn how to do? We learn how to be flexible. We learn how to be, you know, which is why we learn table topics. Things like table topics is all of that builds leadership and learns how to be flexible and work on the fly. So those are my challenges, and it was a great one, but I grew from it. So awesome.
Congratulations, Alvin, on completing your HPL. And as I like this phrase, better late than never. It's a good one right now.
Exactly.
Now, communications is so important to ensure that that your project stays on track. This question is for all of the panelists, starting with Marilyn. If you can give the Toastmasters online that are preparing to do their own HPL projects one golden piece of advice on how to better communicate with their guidance committee, with their team members, and or other stakeholders to help them navigate their leadership journey, to make sure not only that they complete the HPL, but they successfully reach their targets and milestones. Marilyn, if you could give them one golden piece of advice, what would it be?
A golden piece of advice would be to actively listen to your team and your guidance committee instead of reacting to what they're saying, and figure out what is it that they're trying to say, and whether or not you may not agree with it, but how could you use it in order to move forward to a successful thing. The active listening component is something that's always overlooked in this day and age. People are busy looking elsewhere at distractions, but they're not really listening to what is going on. They're not picking up the nonverbal cues that are available to them. And you can still have the nonverbal cues on a Zoom meeting, but it's actually listening, taking in the information, digesting it, and then moving forward informed.
Great, thank you so much, Marilyn. So Alvin, what would one piece of golden piece of advice be from you?
I would say if you chose your committee the right way, trust them. Trust them. Don't fight it. If you chose them right, then trust them. Because there's been many times when I have gone to both my mentors and I've said, Marilyn pushes me out of the plane and said, jump. And there's many times I wanted to hold on to the door and not go, but I jumped and it all turns out okay. There's, you know, and trusting in the people that you chose to help you through, and just believe that you have the capacity and to do it. And I think that's a big thing is that trust. You chose them, so might as well, they know you may not know the way, but they see the potential, and they have, as I said, like a Sherpa in there.
Okay, you're frozen now, Alvin. I don't know if you can hear us, but we'll.
I'm back.
If you, okay, if you can end it up for us.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where I ended there, but as I said, where my get cut off is where I said, like a Sherpa, like a guide. The Sherpa has already been up that mountain. They've been in that crevice. They've been down that valley. And if you're going to be fighting the Sherpa all the way, then you may as well not have gone on that trip. So trust that the Sherpa knows the way, and they won't let you go on a journey or up there guiding you the right way, and just go with it.
Great, thank you so much, Alvin. Now, Chris, if you can give us one golden piece of advice on how to better communicate with your teams.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to go to the other side of Marilyn's coin. Listening is exceptionally important, as is taking advice and heeding the advice from those valued advisors. But all of that comes down back to communication. And my advice is simple. Say it now, say it clearly. If it's good news, share it. Celebrate as a team. If it's bad news, it's not going to get better by keeping it under your hat. You might as well bite the bullet, look at the challenge, and work on it together. That's what you have a team for. And hiding the problems, hiding the challenges, or trying to bury them in the sand isn't going to do you any good. Just speak up and deal with it.
Great, thank you so much. This is, I must admit, these have been great answers from you all. Before I ask some audience questions, I want to ask each panelist, starting with Alvin, if they have any parting comments that they feel will help Toastmasters to ensure that they not only succeed, but they exceed their results that we might not have asked. Alvin?
Yes. Hopefully I can get this through without cutting off. Begin with the end in mind. What do you want to achieve from this? Trust
Okay.
in your team that you've put together, that you've chosen to. Can you hear me? Yeah. So trust and just go with it and go for it. Get you, no doubt. I put my team together. I'm going to trust what they tell me, and I'm just going to execute. And time will move forward, whether you like it or not. So just keep rolling.
Great advice, Alvin. Thank you so much. Chris, what would you want to provide some parting comments for our audience today?
I would encourage everyone to try an HPL, whether it's a mandatory part of your path or something that you can choose an elective in level 5. It's something that gives you a chance to grow in ways that you probably haven't experienced. Choose something that challenges you. Let it be hard. Go have fun. Because it's in those moments that we grow the most. I don't recall who made the quote, but there's one out there that I really like, which is that you fail 100% of the things that you don't try. So go and try. You're not going to fail. At worst, you won't succeed exactly as you planned, but you'll learn 10,000 ways that didn't work.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. And Marilyn, what are your final comments before we take Q&A?
I would say just go for it. You never know what you're going to accomplish until you start down that path and actually believe that you can do it. A lot of people take the background instead of the spotlight, but why not take the spotlight and really lead to something that is impassioned, that is fun, that is really important to the people that you are helping. So go for it. Thank
you so much, Marilyn. I want to say that this has been a phenomenal panel session so far. You guys have shown us very insightful tips and ideas to help us move forward. You know, even if someone like myself who's done an HPL, we've all learned from you, I believe, today. And I want to thank you before we head on to the Q&A. And Xander, will you be putting on this survey for everybody in chat so they can copy it off for any of the audience members?
There it is.
Okay, great. So if everybody can copy that, and make sure if you're in the audience, if you can fill it out. It's just a few quick questions that you can do at the end of the session. Now I would like to open the floor to questions that our audience members might have. You can either put them in the chat, or you can put them, or just unmute yourself and speak. Does anybody have any questions?
Kelly.
Kelly, please.
Hi. If you're working on one of the paths where you don't require an HPL, but you would like to do one, is there a project or something that you get credit for?
The High Performance Leadership Project is an elective on every single path where it is not mandatory. So there's no path where you can't do an HPL. There are simply paths where it is not essential.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Hi, Sandra.
Oh, that was quick. I'm still the paper queen, I'm sure. When it says that you can print out your project, can you actually print out everything you need for your high performance leadership so you can actually see it
Yes.
at one time?
Yes.
Yes, the Print My Project option on under your evaluation in Pathways actually prints the entire project. It prints the project checklist, it prints the details, it prints the surveys, it prints all of those things. I believe the only thing it doesn't print is the 360 evaluation, which is something that you send to your guidance committee, who then provide feedback on you, as well as your team members who can do so.
So is that for at the very end of the whole thing?
Yes, it is. Basically, it's a view for everyone you've worked with to give you their feedback in a variety of different areas, which are detailed.
Okay, so when everything's done.
That's right.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions that anyone might have? Amina.
I have one. So I'm just starting my second path in the Pathways program. And I'm just wondering if there's an ideal time that one should do the HPL. Like, is it preferred that you be closer to, level 5 or whatever, and then you do it? Or can you do it at any point in time in your journey, just whenever you come across a project that is, that you're passionate about and that it is going to meet the criteria for the HPL? Can anybody answer that?
You don't have to wait until you go to complete all of the levels. You can do things at a later date. You just can't submit them.
And some projects are longer. So if you're looking at a project that might require a 6-month period, beginning that when you're in level 3 could be advantageous for you, so that you're not just waiting on that project to finish your path.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay. So it just depends on whatever you decide to choose to do and what the scope of that is, pretty much, right?
And what your own availability is as well. If
Yeah.
you've got time now to focus on an HPL, now might be a great time for you to choose to do that a little ahead of schedule. If you know your schedule may be less crazy in 6 months, that could be a better time.
Yes, valid point. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
And great. Any other questions of anyone, so that we make sure that we tell you everything that you need to know so you're ready for your HPL project?
I have a question on my end, just on if there's a requirement on kind of how big the project has to be or how long it has to be. I know there's a lot of, wiggle room. You can kind of do your own thing, but I'm curious to hear from people that have already done one.
The HPL in Pathways is a little bit different. And one of the reasons that I say that is because in the legacy program, the HPL was a culmination of all of your learning throughout the legacy program. In Pathways, it's part of a path, and at the end of your DTM certification, you will complete a DTM project. In my opinion, that more closely resembles the traditional HPL that we know from the legacy program.
Mhm.
So what I would say is when you choose an HPL, look at something that is going to challenge you. I'm looking at the project right now, and the purpose noted is to apply your leadership and planning knowledge to develop a project plan, organize a guidance committee, and implement your plan with the help of a team. If you've got a project that will help you do all those things and still provide you with a growth opportunity, I don't think scale is the key factor.
Mhm.
Great. Any final questions from anyone or comments? Well, I would like to thank Chris, Marilyn, and Alvin for an amazing panel discussion today. You guys have done so well in providing everyone who has done HPLs before to those people that are just starting their HPLs with great insights for their next HPL. And I really appreciate you all coming on and helping us out this evening. As well as I want to thank Xander for helping me out as Zoom admin for tonight. And thank you for the Toastmasters and guests who attended tonight's panel discussion, as I hope you got all of the information you need to make sure that your HPL project is successful. If you can make sure you copy the link for the SurveyMonkey survey, and if you have any further questions, please email me at eaglesadvanced@gmail.com, and I will provide you with any of the resources that I have. And as you saw from everyone that was speaking in terms of the panelists, there's so much information and so many resources out there, and all our Toastmasters are so helpful and will help you at making sure that your HPL is a success. Thank you again. This concludes our session for this evening. Have a wonderful evening.
Sandra has another.
Oh, one more question? Okay.
I was just going to say, I didn't used to know it, but I found out with Zoom, you just go into the chat, click on that survey. It'll
Yeah.
take you right to it right now. So you don't have to write it down. So if you get everybody to do it right now, they can still, I just filled mine in already.
Okay, perfect. So if everybody can click on it before we end the session. And I want to again thank you all for joining us and helping me to almost complete my level 5. And I really appreciate it for those people that are new to Eagle Advanced Speakers. Thank you. You can come and join us on any of our events anytime. We welcome you. Marilyn, do you have any final thoughts as well?
If you need any help, you can call upon us to answer any of your questions. You're not alone. We have a lot of information. We have a lot of experience that we don't mind sharing with you. So if you need us, give us a call.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night. And thank you again for this wonderful session.
Great job, Cynthia.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cynthia. Very well organized.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for all your help tonight.
Night, everyone.
Everyone,
Thank you.
good night.
Night.
Good night.